Welcome to the Faith Home Love Podcast. I'm Terry Goodlad. This is my beautiful wife, Anna. You're probably wondering what we're doing here. We're right with you there. We don't know what we're doing here either. But Anna had an idea.
No, the Lord called us to do it.
So here we are. This is our first episode of the Faith Home Love Podcast. There will be many more after. We plan on doing them weekly, so you can, if you haven't already, subscribe. But Anna...
who are we, Terry? Who are we?
Well, who are we and how did we get here?
We met about almost 20 years ago. Two Christians that were not really following Jesus. Maybe we thought we were, and a little bit lost, and fell in love a little bit later in life after a lot of bumps down, that road. And after getting married, Terry had a really big health scare.
Yeah.
And that was what brought us to our knees. And at that point, we fully committed to following Jesus. And for those that think that's boring, you're going to see on this podcast that is anything but.
It's anything but.
When you say, Lord, choose me. I'm here. I'll do whatever it takes. He says, okay.
Yeah, Jesus takes the wheel. Sometimes we question his driving habits, but he always gets us there.
That's true. And it's always, always, always better than we could ever imagine. And so...
Yeah, I think going back to the health scare, I think, and also our walk with Jesus, I know for myself, I thought, and I where I'm at right now, I think I'm in a much better place. In 5 years, I'll
look back and be like,
think,
oh
my gosh,
yeah.
And that's just it. We're on that path, and everybody is on that path. And we're not. There are times when we're supposed to judge others. We're not supposed to judge others and where they're at on their path. We also shouldn't judge ourselves. We should just always endeavor to stay on that path.
Give ourselves grace.
Sometimes just staying on the path is the biggest challenge. But going back to that time. I had a health scare, and I had been diagnosed some years before with an issue, and I don't want to go into that because it's quite a long story. That's a whole episode.
That is a very good episode.
Yeah, but I had this health scare, and I decided at one point, because I met this wonderful girl, and I really fell in love, and it was, and I got to say at that time, I said, okay, listen, I'll date you, but I'm never getting married. We're never going to live together. I had all these conditions, and of course,
it's true.
Here I am. How many years later?
18 years later.
I've got 3 small fluffy dogs, 4 rabbits, 4 kids, and
4 kids under 10 years old.
Everything I said no to was a yes.
It wasn't me. I'm not that powerful.
But what it did is it really brought me. I decided that I'm with this girl, and I have something to live for now. I want to live, and that's when. And it wasn't like, okay, now that we're going to do that, now we've got to dive into this Christian walk. And it wasn't like that at all, really. It was just a very organic thing. And we just fell in love with the lifestyle because it's challenging, but there's so much that God promises us. And we'll hear about that over time. But it just really intensified our walk with God, right? And I think it's what God.
Well, the first thing that happened was a complete miracle of a miracle that could only be God, because Terry had a heart condition, and it was something that couldn't be healed. That we only through surgery, and even then, and then he was told that he was going to be put in 7 different medications and blah blah blah, and literally 9 months later, he went back for a checkup, and the technician, he was like...
He didn't believe me.
Yeah, he didn't believe him. He's like, are you sure you ever had a heart problem? Yeah. So that was when God...
The cardiologist very nicely, pleasantly kicked me out of the office and said, come back and see me when you actually have a problem.
Yeah. It was.
And,
it was.
and just understand that I had been given a death sentence. At one point, it was 15 years. That got whittled down. The last doctor that gave me
6
that
months.
he says you could die in the next hour. He said you could die in the next 5 minutes, but you're not going to be here in 6 months. That's a guarantee. And this guy's a very respected doctor, and so that was a miraculous healing. But again, that's for another day.
And at that point, we realized that, there's nothing else in this world that that is worth doing or following other than truly committing to the Lord. And we decided to seek him. And I think that's the difference. Before that we believed, but we didn't truly seek him.
Well, I mean, so what does that mean? It means you go to church on Sunday, you pray before you eat, you do all that kind of stuff, but you're still functioning in the world. We get angry, somebody cuts us off in traffic, we flip them the bird, and then always ask for forgiveness, of course, but we don't, and that was just life. It was just, okay, it's something that I do over here, but I do a bunch of other things over here that really don't feel the effect of whatever I'm doing over here. And now it's so much, now this is what we do, and everything gets seen through those goggles, if you will. But I know I wanted to talk also about COVID, because that was a big changing point for us.
That's true.
It was a huge changing point for us.
Yes.
Before that, I think we were like everybody else in America and around the world, where we just had our routine and we bumped through it and like that. And then COVID upset everything. And I know that was a big catalyst of change for you and your interest in our health, and because we had kids then.
It was, yes.
Our health. And I want you to explain a bit of that. What was your process? I mean, we were booming along fine, about a couple of years away from retiring.
Yes.
And all of a sudden,
we lost everything.
All of a sudden, I had $83 in the bank, and we were feeding 10 people in our house. And things had to,
Yeah. And, at that point, we were living in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas really shut down completely. We couldn't go anywhere. We had 3 toddlers at a time, and that was difficult. But I think at that point, what God really showed me was that we can't be dependent upon the government or even the healthcare system, because even the doctors, they didn't really know what they were doing. They were going by day, hour by hour.
Well, then you couldn't go. God forbid you went anywhere and you were within 6 feet of anybody, unless you were at Costco.
Wearing masks, and
couldn't
all
go
of
to
that.
Churches were like all that. Everybody knows about that.
It's just nothing set right with us. I think those first couple weeks we were all home. The 2 weeks stay at home thing.
Flatten the curve.
And then I think we started to figure out, like, okay, this is not adding up. And since then,
well, and we had 2 very close friends that when they finally could access the vaccine, had the vaccine, and both of them died within 2 weeks of having their second shot, their booster shot.
Right.
And so that was another big eye opener, because these were friends of ours, close friends of ours.
Sure. And it was like, okay, so what do we do? Who do we trust? And at the end of the day, we're not here to give you any medical advice.
And we're not conspiracy theorists.
Because there's no conspiracy, it's all true.
Because now it's coming out as all true. There was conspiracy then.
I think what we did is we really turned to the Holy Spirit, and it's like, guide me through it. This is not to say if you're vaccinated, oh my gosh, we can't be friends. It's not that. I think everybody at that point was doing the best they could with what they had at their hands, the information they had. But the path that we chose was to go towards basically going back in times and try to maintain our health and through ancient, ways that have worked for centuries.
It really is not that ancient, because my grandmother was born in 1917. She's now passed. But this is all stuff she did. You know,
Right.
it wasn't that she disliked doctors. It's just she didn't have access to a doctor. When
Right.
she was young, raising her kids, they were in an 11 by 11 foot shack.
Right.
And the doctor was a day's ride away on a buckboard. You had to look after yourself.
Sure.
You know, and so you found ways, and you went back to old medicines and old, the ways of making food and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And now everything is
In a package and convenient and
go buy a loaf of bread off the shelf and put it on your cupboard and see how long it lasts before it
I
goes
know.
bad.
I know.
Now go roast.
Bake.
Go bake some sourdough and leave it on the cupboard and see how long until it goes bad. And,
Right.
And it tells you something,
Right.
And so, and I mean, that's not the only metric that you gauge this stuff by, but we really had our eyes opened
Yes.
to a lot of things. And that was 100% you're doing because I fought her every inch of the way. I called her a hippie, laughingly, like kindly, but like everything,
But not.
like toothpaste, like everything, laundry detergent, everything, literally everything.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And I don't even say see.
But
I
here's
was
the
right.
thing is
I
that
don't
she
say
was right. And I'm so embarrassed to say that, but it's absolutely true.
Well,
It's
what has
absolutely true.
happened truly is, now Terry's in his 60s and I'm about to turn 51. And honestly, we are able to raise 4 kids, 10 and under, and keep up with them. And I feel like we've always followed a healthy lifestyle by everyone else's standards. I mean, I used to be a fitness competitor. Terry used to be a power lifter, MMA fighter, all these things that
We've been athletes our whole life.
made us seek the good nutrition and like that. But when Terry had his heart problems, it became evident that the way you look is not necessarily what's going on inside
Like a
of
really
you.
good-looking corpse.
Stop it.
That's where I was going. Well, maybe not really good looking, but
Stop it.
acceptable.
A very strong one.
Yeah, there,
you need
strong.
a double wide
There
coffin.
you go. Yeah, I
oh
need
my
a
gosh.
really big coffin.
That's terrible. No, but and so it made us question coming from the bodybuilding world. Oh my goodness! It made us make a lot of changes.
On that point, we ate for what we call performance.
Right.
And so it was
And
lots
looks.
of calories. You were thinking of fuel, calories in, calories out. You're
Right.
thinking of that. You're thinking of growing muscle. You're thinking of recovering from workouts, all of that. And the presumption is that that's healthy.
Right.
But the reality is very, very different. And,
Right.
And just on that note, I noticed that because when I went, I was in the hospital, had a bunch of exhaustive testing, and got another doom and gloom report and a stack of drugs I was supposed to take, which I never did. And Anna took me
We
home.
also don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, Anna took me home, and she had another path. She had done her research for like 5 days. She sat at my side in the hospital and did the research. We went home and followed that plan. And when we did that, and praise God,
Absolutely.
that took care of my heart issues. And I haven't had them. They've never come back.
But on that note,
But the thing is that everything, it wasn't about the calories that I take in and stuff like that. It was about eating things that my body didn't have to fight with or didn't have to
yes,
work to deal with, to cleanse or whatever. We did a gut health cleanse.
yes,
And we went at it looking at,
Anti-inflammatory.
anti-inflammatory foods. And so after I had done that and started to reintroduce foods into my diet again, holy smokes, you find out in a hurry
Yeah.
what things your body just doesn't deal with.
No, and on that note, I feel like, a lot of times we pray for miracles, and of course the Lord wants to do miracles in our lives, but many of those times it also involves our actions. And to
Yeah.
Terry's, to my amazement, Terry
The miracle
really
was my obedience. Instead of
This
laughing
is a
at my wife and calling her
Canadian-
names, I said, Okay, I'll just do whatever you tell me.
This is a Canadian meat and potatoes farm boy, and he was all in, and he was drinking green smoothies, and all the crazy things that I told him to do because I prayed, and the Lord, like, people were not talking about gut health back then.
No.
That was 16 years ago now. Almost 15 years ago. And, anti-inflammatory, that was like before it became the hype. And I feel like the Lord really showed me, but to my amazement, you followed it.
Yeah.
And that create
The obedience really was the miracle.
the miracle.
It was a joke when I said it, but now you mention it, you're right. That was the miracle.
No, and it created, an opportunity for the Lord to heal you. Because when we fight him, he's like, I'm showing you the path. You don't want to go down that path, So that was the catalyst. And then later on, COVID. So we had already made a lot of changes by the time COVID hit. We had changed our lifestyle for 10 years at least at that
fitness
point.
became a completely different thing now. Now we've got 4 kids, and
Right.
and it's I'm 66. I'll be 67 in a couple of months, and I can. It's about agility. It's about stamina,
Yep.
energy.
Yep.
Being able to play with my kids, being able to. They're all in jiu-jitsu now, and they're all getting good enough to kick my butt, and so I gotta.
Right.
I got to keep up, right? But the thing of it is so that's what it is. And the irony is, I've never been in better shape, even when I was a competitive athlete.
Right.
I've never been in the condition that I'm at now. I can do more now than I could.
Which is a miracle in itself.
That's a miracle. But it's just it's feeding your body the right things, doing the right exercise that you need to do. And you don't need to kill yourself. It just has to be consistent.
Because we look back now, and that health scare, that death sentence, you got 6 months. It was the catalyst for us to change our lifestyle, and it's been 15 years. So we're basically living the effects of those changes. And, Terry goes and trains weekly with a group of guys, and we never thought much of it because they're all ex-cops and ex-SWAT, and that's where they find their bond, and they're all Christians. So Terry just did, and then one day we're going, hold on, they're like 28 years old and you could be grandpa truly, yet he's
Couldn't you have just said dad, hey?
No, you know what?
I honestly could be grandpa.
In my group at church, we have a mom's group, and of course my kids are younger. They are 10 and under, and the moms, of course, we are no longer in Las Vegas, which was a lot more of the norm to have kids in your 40s. Like it wasn't something, oh my gosh, you have a baby and you're 40, But we have since relocated to Florida. We live more in a smaller town where people do things more traditionally, and usually most of them have their kids in their 20s.
And that's a whole other show right there, I think.
But my friends could almost not all of them, but a lot of them could be my daughters, And so we're living that life where we're like, a lot of our circle is much younger, and we can only keep up because of this lifestyle changes we made so many years ago.
I think that puts us in a position as well of being older yet relatable. We end up, and this is I'm part of our church safety team.
Yeah,
I'm a member of the safety team, and actually I'm the leader of the safety team, and so that puts me in charge of the 20 guys that I've got on that team, and so ministering to them and making sure that they're taken care of. And that's Christian leadership it's not lordship, it's leadership. And what it means is, like Jesus washed the feet of the apostles, it's washing the feet of the people that you're looking after. You look after them so that they can do that job
you serve
that you're in charge of doing. And
you serve by example as well.
Right. And so that I find that being older, generally, not always, comes with wisdom, or at least a level of wisdom. And of course,
We can
God
hope.
can impart
We
that
can
wisdom
hope.
on, yeah, he can impart that gift on you as well, that gift of wisdom.
Right.
And so it gives us an opportunity, and we've got lots and lots and lots of life experience, over 100 years between the two of us, Anna. And
We've done some crazy things.
So we get, we sure have.
A lot of different careers.
A lot of different
and
things,
a lot
yeah.
of different things.
So you have some wisdom that you can impart, and
Especially on not to do.
especially on the not to do department.
That's the longer list.
That's the larger book.
We hope to catch up with the what to do.
But that's part of it is, that life experience. And we know so many others that have got similar, like the raising kids thing. And we've got really dear friends of ours that raised 7 kids, right?
Yeah.
They had. And so we go to them and get advice. And so this is essentially, this is what the podcast is about, is all of this stuff. It's navigating a very, very difficult and increasingly difficult world as Christians, as a husband and wife that have to work on their marriage daily, which you should, and as parents that we have to work on being better parents daily. Anna homeschools our kids. She's making sourdough and laundry soap and toothpaste and
Me.
Yeah.
The least likely.
She was making hair products. I don't know what happened.
Don't buy it.
Don't buy the hair products. But no, that's a joke. But all of this stuff, and that's really what we have to share. So in the terms of ministry, like in the Great Commission, right before Jesus ascends to be with the Father, he left us all with, or he left the apostles with, and he left that command for all of us who love him and serve him to fight the wiles of the devil and to preach the gospel. And so this is really, ministry is what we're here for. Everything else is just stuff. And so this is our crack at that.
Sharing our testimony, hopefully. I mean, we don't even know what the Lord can do with this, but here we are.
We're going to stumble through it, hopefully together. So if you would like to, you can hit that subscribe button. That's going to help us. And please follow us. And I look forward to doing another. This is fun.
That was fun.
We've been trying to get this done for a week.
Oh, you guys, everything happened to stop us. That's why we
Everything.
knew we had to do it.
There's a silly cord. There's a cord over here that, anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Thank
God
you
bless
for
you.
watching. God bless.